Yeah, I mean, let's start. Sophia already announced the title. And yeah, what does this mean? What is behind this fancy title? What do I want to talk about today? In details, first give a brief introduction about myself, also a bit more about about the topic. We'll then go into the rising demands, also the resulting challenges, and also some strategies on how to meet this challenge. Then we will draw a conclusion, and then we also have some time for questions. So, first of all, who am I? My name is Christian Weiß, and I'm a professional developer since 2007. And I moved to RWE in the year 2018. And nowadays I'm kind of a function lead, product owner or something. And I'm still developing things, so kind of still know what's up in the world. But some very interesting thing is I do not consider myself a tech enthusiast or something like this. Yes, I do love coding. And I like to build things. I like to provide functionality for the customer. I like to make things faster. But like being really involved into the latest hypes and all that stuff was never really my thing. So maybe also going a bit back in time, 2007, I was started in as an apprentice, and it was solely Windows Forms and PL SQL what I developed. And I developed this for years. And honestly, back then, life was good. Obviously, I was very inexperienced and I did not know much about anything. But it was like, wow, there was Windows Forms. You could draw things onto the toolbox. From the toolbox onto the screen, it directly worked. And wow, you had your button, you double clicked on it, had the event handler and all that stuff. And life was good, life was easy. There was still this PL SQL thing, which sounded a bit intimidating, but I also got the hang of it. We had our framework, which never really changed, and with every project, I seem to get better and better. I seem to deepen my knowledge. But even back then in the day, it was like that there were voices like, ooh, our stuff is outdated. PL SQL, who's still doing this? So let's switch to some more fancy. But honestly, this company was kind of slow. And yes, there was some Angular back then, and I honestly also left the company when they kind of started talking microservices and that stuff. But yeah, oh boy, what was I wishing for? Because I was also then becoming one of their voices. And fast forward, 2024. Yeah, this is what I have to deal with now on my team. And boy, when I think like deepening the knowledge, well, is there still time for it? Because just look ahead like 2 months, there might be some new symbols appearing on this slide. And yeah, honestly, I did not make this up. This is really everything my team is confronted with in day-to-day business. And yeah, we are a DevOps team. We had this DevOps migration, so this also onboarded AWS and all that stuff. And yeah, so life was different since then. Some time has passed, and yeah. So, of course, we have now rising demands on DevOps developers because, yeah, C-Forms is not really a thing anymore, at least not in my company. So maybe also a bit of reasoning why all this is happening. Yeah, the thing, the environment, the world is more fast moving, and you do not have like a month or so to set up a server. And now when we think of different environments like dev, test, staging, and prod, think of just setting up everything of these manually yourself. Kind of makes sense to have a Terraform script or something like this, things you can configure with Helm files, because in the end it's all the same, just differently parameterized. Or also another example. It's like microservices has become this buzzword since years, and yeah, everybody's doing it. Yes, we are also doing it. Does it make sense? Yes, to a certain extent, not always. But also imagine deploying every single microservice by hand, and not really. You would be busy deploying the whole day and could not code or do anything else anymore. And yeah, that's also the thing. And also in the fast-growing world of nowadays technology, imagine not being scalable. Imagine not being able to spin off just another container, another instance of the same thing. And yeah, so kind of has its place in the world, I would say. Another thing is also when you see the widened tech stack, Angular, Postgres, C# and whatnot. It's like, yeah, I hate to say it, but fat clients are kind of out. Nowadays, everything is browser. You want to be able to access this from everywhere, and you do not want to install some bulky application on your system, which maybe the installer would not even work or would provide problems. You just want to, when there's an update, you just want to hit F5 in the browser, and that is it. So you also kind of have the responsibility as a developer to also be able to support your locations. And yeah, so I guess you got to learn this as well. And also, like in my case, it was that teams were kind of merged, and one team was more like kind of coming from the Java corner, and boy, I don't know Java. I did not know Java, but still, it is now kind of my heritage, and also my team as kind of to deal with it. So yeah, better be ready. And also last but not least, when you think of the security aspect, yeah, think of not investing in security in 2024. It's kind of suicide, honestly. I believe like 2 or 3 years ago, I was at my car dealership, and it was that I believe a couple of days ago they were hacked. And what did they do? They were just taking a pen and writing my name on some contract, on some formula. And this felt like Stone Age. And they just admitted, yeah, we've been hacked. It's a bit chaotic currently here. So yeah, please bear with us. And I heard that they received something that their hard drive was encrypted. So goodbye to everything, as they did not pay the ransom. But more interestingly, it was like a year later, when I had to do an inspection for my car again, they still did this. They still had to use the pen and put my name on the paper and all that details. And yeah, they really have been bombed back into the Stone Age. And yeah, with a car dealership, you sell cars, you kind of have your stuff to make money with. But think now of a very tech-heavy company. It's like even a couple of days out of business could cost a lot. Could cost even the life of the company. So yeah, you gotta learn this as well, I guess. So yeah, let's also have a look at the challenges which result out of this. It's like the complexity of the multidisciplinary knowledge, as I call it. It's like, yeah, like we said, cloud infrastructure, you gotta learn. Automation tools, you gotta learn. Database management. And also, yeah, what you are actually being paid for, software development. This is what the thing I liked so much in the past. And also, the complexity of the different demands. You have this huge time pressure to meet the deadlines. You have this huge time pressure to learn these new tools. And also, don't forget the car dealership. You have to be secure. And also, do not let the people wait for longer than a second for a request to come back. Be fast. And yeah, also the business has this very, very fancy feature they need. Otherwise, they are also losing the advantage of the competition. So better generate business value. And yeah, not stressful at all, eh? So, strategies. What can we do about all this? What can you do about this? Or first of all, what can others do for you about this? You can ask things. You can ask for time, first of all. It's like, there's also this saying, I cannot sharpen my axe, I have to chop wood. Yeah, well, the axe will not be sharp forever. So when you ask for your employer for time, you could have something like every Friday that you get at least the afternoon for some self-study, some time slot. Also use this time well for knowledge transfer sessions. Chances are that there is a different degree of maturity of developers in your team. So yeah, team up with the seniors. They are always eager to share their knowledge, at least I hope. And this is also a very good opportunity for the juniors to catch up, to be interested, to also be on the road to become a senior. Participate in meetups where also knowledge is generally shared, also like best practices also, oh, we have this specific problems, oh yeah, we too, what can we do about this? Things like these. And also, I talked previously, I showed this other slide of this wide range of technology. It's like many things, more or less, or there are many tools for the same solution. So you could ask your architects or whoever is in charge of this for certain standards. So at least try to narrow down the corridor a bit. So you do not always have to use fancy technology X if fancy technology A is already well established and people already have experience with this, if there's knowledge in the company. And also, when you have to onboard new technologies, just be mindful that people need to catch up, that also maybe you have already some examples you can provide. Different strategies or things you can do yourself once you have received this time, or you just deliberately make time yourself. When you delivered this fancy business feature the business was waiting for ages, they can play with this, and you do not immediately have to start with the next one. So at least use this time slot to make some time for yourself. And also, the question is, what do you do during this time? You can obviously focus on the core technologies first, that you get a hang of it. You can also think of making things, or of automatizing things, because the more you automatize, the less you have to do manually, of course, and the more time you potentially have for some other stuff. So at least in theory. Also, in my company, it's like we are backing the AWS horse very, very heavily. And a lot of people have gotten AWS certification. And I have to say, for those who took it, it really helps. It's not like that we use every spectrum of the certification which is offered there, but it also covers the stuff we use. And yeah, kind of helpful. And they kind of have an advantage. Yes, it is an investment, but an investment which is worthwhile and does pay off a lot. Automate things, we have it already. But also, things are not done when you just took an afternoon off to learn something. You should make this a consecutive habit. Also, kind of as a habit, new things are popping up, new dynamics, the requirements are being created. So also make it a habit to learn things, make it a habit to solidify knowledge. And yeah, last thing, guess you heard of those platforms. Have quite some good courses. Well, not sponsored by them, but I also use them quite frequently. So they have very valuable stuff. Also, one idea for your company, you could get some budget to have free accounts, because why should you pay this yourself? And also, things, I hope that you are not alone in your team. So you could do T-shaping, that you would like specialize on a certain area, but also kind of widen the knowledge, but become at one thing really, really good. And if you think of this in a wider range, since you're a team, hopefully, it's that there are many, many, many T-shaped people, and with your vertical bars, you could cover the field quite sufficiently. Also, speaking of the seniors in your team, or have some seniors, have some experts in the team, but don't let them just do their thing. Be genuinely interested in their thing, because it's a true story that we have an expert in our team, and he used to play soccer, like I believe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he broke one of his spine, or his vertebrae, as it is called, very, very, very heavily. And yeah, for the next 8 weeks, he may spend his time in bed. So kind of a loss. And so be prepared for things like this. what else do we have? The conclusion we have. It is, I hate to say it, but the days of single technology IT, they are kind of over. But there are solutions. You can only tackle this as a team, so align with your team and also with your company to narrow down the corridor. And honestly, since you do not have a real choice in here, see it as a kind of a challenge, see it as a chance to grow. And after some time passes and you think back and like, wow, I just nailed my first Terraform script. And I never thought, or like half a year ago, I did not even know what Terraform was. And yeah, it's a nice feeling. And to close with some inspirational quote, the future belongs to those who continuously evolve, collaborate, and adapt. And by mastering not just the tools, but the mindset of continuous improvement, you'll stay ahead in this fast-moving field. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christian. Do you have any questions? It's a great time to ask now. Okay, so if you don't have any questions, I've got one. So how would you consider soft skills like communication or teamwork in comparison to other technical features in today's society and today's community?
Yeah, good question. It is definitely not something to be neglected. It's like, well, I'm also rather an introvert person, honestly, and it's not always easy to collaborate with people, but these are also things you kind of better learn. It's always good to listen. It's always good to have an open ear, to be open for new technologies, and this also it kind of goes hand in hand. And yeah, does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much. And another question. How big would you describe the influence of artificial intelligence in the future of software developing?
Yeah, honestly, I can only guess, but yeah, well, we already have some AI which generates some inspirational quotes. So I guess the way to taking over kind of our job field to a certain extent at least is very plausible. I honestly do not see what speaks against with, because I mean we all use ChatGPT nowadays for some just write me the script in this programming language I do not know, and yeah, there is something. It's not perfect yet, but it only started very recently, and I think we will take off very soon with this. So yeah, let's see. I'm also curious what they will be, and maybe it might even be that we have kind of the last generation of real developers and not just AI orchestrators or something like this. But let's see. Who am I to predict the future here?
That's a great answer, I guess. So if there aren't any questions, I would thank you once again, and yeah.
Thank you.